Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
What's up, coworkers?
Hey, coworkers. Hey, welcome back to episode 5 of the We Outside Afterwork podcast. I am your host, Dana.
I'm Aaron. Happy Cinco de Worko.
And today we are joined by Lashawn, which is a friend of Aaron.
That's my guy, Hitman to the death of us.
My man, 100 grand.
Yes, Lashawn, thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, because he also has his own podcast. And what is your podcast about?
Absolutely. Follow my podcast when you guys get a chance. It's the Educated Brothers podcast. We're on all streaming platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all the 9. You can follow myself at bigger_Sean_, play on the name, Big Sean.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
Big Sean. Big Sean, see?
Yeah,
So you spell it like him, or you spell it
No.
Yeah,
SHAW.
We gotta make sure they know how to spell it.
No, we not spelling it big scene. All right, Sean SHAW.
He is gonna be big and seen. You feel me?
Absolutely.
I mean, Educated Brothers podcast. Shout out to them. They had me on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that was the podcast that Aaron left us for, guys, to be on. So yeah, we are joined now by.
I had to steal him for a quick second. It wasn't that bad.
He the one that got me sick. That's why.
Hey.
Yeah.
It was that whiskey we was drinking. That's what it was.
Oh no.
Speaking of, take a shot.
Okay.
My cranberry juice.
So yeah, we're gonna just take a sip to that. This is coffee.
And I gotta give a shout out to his co-host too, Dante.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Follow the man. Dante Burgess is Dante B_ on Instagram. My second half, my brother in arms.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Dante been rocking with each other for going on 17 years now. That's my man. So
okay.
Make sure y'all give him a follow, look up.
Yeah, and
Dante acts as well, so catch him on a Broadway show soon. Yeah,
Jabbar, right? That's his name.
Yeah, that was his name. But I'll put all this stuff in the description of their handles so that people can check them out. All right, so normally in the beginning of our podcast, we do just go around asking each other how our week was, but because we are joined by a guest, we are going to switch things up a little bit today. So I did go to Target to pick up a card game because I'm always in Target anyway, and this kind of just made sense.
I'm glad I'm not always in Target no more. That used to be my life for.
You used to work there, so that's why.
Hey, if y'all need any discounts or deals, hit me up. I got you.
RJ,
right. So, the card game that I picked up was called Hot Takes, and I chose 3 questions that we're gonna go around and just see our thoughts on these questions. So the first one is, should Snapchat bring back where you could see people's best friends? So if you don't know what that was, Snapchat at a point in time had a feature where you could see the top 3 people that someone kept Snapchatting and sending pictures and videos to.
Trifling.
So it was kind of trifling, but I no longer use Snapchat. Mm-hmm. But back then when they did have that, it did kind of ruin relationships, and it kind of just made me side-eye people well, why are you talking to this person so much, and just not really want to fuck with them too much after that.
That's like when Instagram had the Discover page.
They still got that.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I don't be using it like that. But, I see who you liking. I see who you
they used to have that where you could see the likes.
They don't call it that, but the algorithm still builds up. So if you searching for somebody, it'll show the type of stuff that you're liking. So
this is specific though. Because it was Aaron liked such and such's pictures.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what
and
it
then
was.
On Snapchat, I don't remember the best friends thing like that. I just remember seeing who mine were. So, I mean, if this girl I'm hitting up every day, all of a sudden this dude in the stream or streak, whatever it's called, I'm like, yo, what's up with that?
Yeah, it used to tell you when people's usernames shot up for that other person, so that it tells you they was talking to them a lot. Yeah.
But they still got other ways there that you can get caught up there. So, because if you follow mutual people, if it's somebody that you're on their page a lot, if you like that picture, your name's gonna be the first name up there that you liked it.
Yeah,
they find little subtle ways to snitch on you.
Yes, I have a friend who that was actually an issue in his last relationship, was that his girlfriend always saw his name show up as this person and others like this picture.
Well, what's the problem with that? What's wrong with liking pictures?
It's, to me, it's not a big deal, but it depends. If it is one particular person that your girlfriend or boyfriend keeps liking their pictures and you're kind of just snooping and you see their name always pops up, then it's a little like, okay, why you like all of their pictures like
So
that?
is it because they are accessible? Like, if I like all of Beyonce pictures, you don't have a problem with it.
It's not the same
But
thing.
if I like all of Bianca's pictures, that's a problem.
Right, because
Some
you
girls
can't get
still have that issue,
Beyonce.
though. Like,
Yeah.
do you have a problem with guys who, like, let's say, like, Instagram models or girls that we don't know personally?
They like
things like that.
I personally don't care, but there was a situation in one of my past relationships where, and I don't do this anymore. I don't go through phones and none of that.
Shout out to
'Cause you
growth.
always find something, yes. But my ex, not my past ex, like, because people know who he is. But anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah, you guys don't know. But other people.
I met him. He was cool.
But him and his best friend, guy best friend, would literally just keep sending a bunch of like ass pictures to each other, to where it was just like it was a lot of pictures, and I'm like, is this all you guys do on Instagram? Is just send ass shots?
How'd you catch that? You went through it?
I went through his Instagram. Yeah. And I felt the way just because we did have a lot of other things going on. And then just to see that, and I'm like, I kind of felt insecure. Because I'm like, oh, this is why you not paying me attention because you're so busy on Instagram.
Nah, you
this.
should have just sent him ass. That's
No, because his best friend was sending it to him.
No, but
well, his best friend probably would have been like, "Oh, let me see, Dane." That's crazy. So I get you.
But in most of them situations where guys are doing things like that, it's something that they're not getting. And, you know, it sucks that you felt insecure about it. But like Aaron said, it probably was best if you started sending him ass.
No, because it wasn't me. Like, it wasn't the fact that he was sending them. It was more so his best friend was sending it to him, and his best friend was married. So that's a whole nother conversation. But it was like it was so many in one day to where I'm like, okay, this guy is literally just going on Instagram to find ass to send to my boyfriend.
We might have to tackle that marriage shit too, because, especially all the divorces going on. But let's get to question number 2.
Okay, so question number 2 says, people who grew up with social media will have less interpersonal communication skills. Do y'all agree or disagree?
I agree with that.
I agree too.
100%.
I agree
Ding the
too.
fuck ding. My son is literally in the other room right now. He been here for an hour. I don't think he took his eye out the phone except for when Dana played Connect 4.
Yes, I was going to say, just to give him the benefit of the doubt, he did play the Giant Connect 4 with me, and I beat him 3 times in a row. But
Shout out to Jada.
yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like that's just their generation. And it does suck, though, because also I feel like they get a lot of information from TikTok and think that's valid and everything on there is believable. So it is kind of scary at the same time.
But the way I look at it, when we grew up, the next town over was far from us, right? Like, I grew up in Union, and yeah, I knew people in Hillside, but I didn't know people in Hillside. Now I know people in New York. I know people in Chicago. I know people in Oklahoma, right? So it's like, it might make you have less interpersonal communication from a physical perspective, but these people communicate.
Yeah, they're
these
talking.
people know how to communicate with one another.
Our generation, we knew how to operate it. You know, when social media first...
Because we blended.
Exactly. We used it as a tool to reach out to people we couldn't see every day, you know. Like, I moved a lot when I was a teenager. So when I left Island, New Jersey to move to Maplewood, as a 14-year-old kid, I thought it was like eons away. But now, like when MySpace got hot, you know, I got connected with all my friends to the point that I'm still cool with the dudes that I thought I'd never talk to again.
Right.
But... you know, we were right at the beginning of it. So we're kind of like in the middle, too, because I have times where I'm like, all right, I'm on this phone too much. I got to put it down.
Yeah, I think it's also about, like, just having discipline for yourself and being like, okay, because I noticed that with me, like, I'll literally spend, if I'm by myself, I'll spend, like, 2 hours just scrolling through Reels because I'm not on TikTok or nothing like that. But I think when you are dating and you start like to go out with people and they're constantly just on their phone at dinner or something like that, it's like, yo, like I'm here with you now.
I've
like,
learned not to do that.
Yeah, that's such a huge red flag to me. Like, be in the moment. Be in the moment and just be here with me, and let's like act like, you know, that we're spending time together.
But
like,
I also gotta defend myself because I'm the person that's not present a lot. Because my phone is very distracting, right?
It is.
But I also feel like
be.
I'm distractible. And that's me. Like, it could be a personality trait that, you know, a dog crosses the street, I'm going to see the dog cross the street, right? Like, when I was in a car as a kid, every time I seen the white lines on the street, I got to, like, pick my head up like I'm jumping. I'm like I'm playing a game, right?
But then social media just makes it worse for you then.
Because, it does. Like, because I'm easily distractible.
Yes, exactly.
And it's things that I enjoy and I like to see. So if it's something amusing, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to laugh at it. If it's something engaging, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to read all into it.
So let's bring it back, though, to the current generation, because there are literally babies, like 3-year-olds, who know how to operate iPads, iPhones, get to YouTube, talk to Alexa to play music. Like, I feel like it is a blessing and a curse because it allows them to just keep up with technology at such a young age. So who knows what it will become once, you know, they are old enough to add whatever they want to add to these already existing technical things. But I'm saying for the future, what will it look like where kids are already, like you said, your son, just so zoned into their phone that, like, are they going to be able to just, like, speak to people face to face? Or are they, because I've already seen it now where, like, people are just so uncomfortable talking in person that they would much rather text, even phone calls.
No one calls.
A lot of people don't like to make phone calls, and I'm big on calling or, like, voice notes. Like, I don't want to text all day.
As someone that hires 16, 17, 18-year-olds, it's a huge difference in their productivity. It's a huge difference in their interest.
They get distracted.
And every time you look to the right, look to the left, they're on their phones, right? And it's like, is it a big deal to me? No. Is it a big deal to the customers? No. But optically, it does look horrible.
It looks like you're not working.
Exactly.
So part of it is, as somebody who is in a position of authority and leadership, you have to just try to continue to coach them and train them out of that. Like, I get it. My son learns how to read based on playing video games, playing Pokemon. Like, that was his thing. Me and him had a thing. I'll buy you the game if you know how to read it. Because if you know anything about playing Pokemon, you got to read the shit. So now he's top-notch reader. He can do all that kind of stuff. But now it's ingrained in him that he can do it through technology. The schools have iPads. The school have laptops, all that kind of shit. They don't even have textbooks no more. So they don't want the kids to necessarily be averse to technology.
And that's why I was going to say it comes down to parenting, teaching, and whoever the guardian is, because, like you said, it's a gift and a curse. But if you steer them the right way, they can use it to their advantage.
Right. They need guidance.
Exactly, because they're already at a situation to where we didn't have something like this. Remember your teachers, when you was in math class, like, yo, don't use your calculator. You have all that right in front of you.
Right, I'm like, why wouldn't I use my calculator?
Exactly. So it makes it easier for them, but then it's also a tool that they can actually use if they use it properly. And it's just up to us to make sure that they're not constantly just on TikTok or just playing, Fortnite and stuff like that all day, watching YouTube videos. Like, the thing that I'm having with my nephews right now is they're into sports. But they assume that since they're watching all these YouTubers and these guys on Twitch and all these things like that, doing these certain things, that it's just going to be a given to them. But when I'm telling them, like, what they're not showing you is that them 2 hours that they're not on that Twitch, they're in the gym working. Right. You gotta find a balance in that stuff, but they just assume that it's there. I can do the same thing, and that's when you have to step in and be like, "Yo, you can't do it. You gotta do it this way."
Right, and I think that's why the parents should step in. Have you guys heard of iPad parenting, where parents kind of just like set up the iPad to basically babysit and distract their children?
Shout out to Desmond Dennis, Gracie's Corner.
Oh my God! Clearly, Aaron uses it.
No, we don't do Cocomelon. That shit ain't got no soul. That shit ain't got no soul.
But there's a detriment to that, I feel like, because there comes a point where it's like, as a parent, you have to know when it's time to just take that away and actually parent and talk to your children. Like, I've heard not, because obviously I don't have children, but I've heard stories where people will literally just have their child sit in front of the iPad for hours, not talk to them, not like actually teach them things and be a parent so that they can be on social media too or whatever they're doing. And it's like, if you think about that long term, your child is just not really gonna know like how to actually like have conversation and communicate, and like it's a behavioral thing too, because once they go to school and start interacting with other kids, they won't really have those skills because no one really talked to them. It was just like, oh, watch Coco Melon or...
So I'll give the other side of the coin a little bit. As a kid, I was the kid that you just throw me in a room with some toys. I don't need the social interaction with parents, my brothers, or anything. I actually created social interaction with the toys, right? Hey, this group is a family. This group is a family. We're playing. We're able to continue to have that dynamic. Now, when I have my son, he was never the kid that can't get off of a video game or can't get off of social media, but he also was a kid that loved it. So instead of taking it away from him, I joined in on it.
Right.
Like, we can do this together so we can talk through it and we can build a connection.
Right. That's my point, is just being like actually being a parent and doing it together, not just like setting him with that and just be like, all right, I'll talk to you.
Oh, but definitely every once in a while you need that break. You need that break where you're going to be like, you know what, especially with a newborn, my daughter will sit and watch videos for a good hour. And it's like, all right, I just need a break. I just need to chill. And then, you know, back at it, I'm dancing with her. I'm singing all the songs. So, like, I'm active with it.
Right.
But
there's a balance.
Yeah. Once I realized that this is something that gravitated to her, I didn't want to take it away from her. Like, if singing and dancing is what makes you happy, sing and dance. Now I'm just going to sing and dance with you. If I got to wear a tutu to make sure that this is the type of interaction that you need, I'm going to do that for you.
Right. And that's my point. Just like actually being there with them while they're using these things. Because also, especially with social media, depending on how old your child is when they have an Instagram, like for you, Aaron, for example, what do you think is an appropriate age for your son to have either Instagram or Twitter? Because yes, they have the parental controls on it, but you could still see a lot of shit on there.
So it wasn't until I think XXXTentacion or whatever his name is, before he died.
Oh, yeah.
He had a song about suicide. So my son listened to, he watched Pokemon and Naruto and shit like that, right? I never had to worry about nothing. Then I hear him on YouTube and he's singing this song, Suicide, something. So I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Nope, we got to turn that off. Because granted, I don't know what this man is talking about. But if my son is curious and start looking up suicide, now all of a sudden you putting that in his brain, hey, I might want to have to kill myself. Like, I don't want that. Like, that is a negative thing that, with all due respect to anybody who's going through it, I don't want to, like, create that thought. Like, that's supposed to be something that you discover on your own, like, not somebody putting that message out there. Right. So I had to cut that shit. I had to dead all of that.
Does he have a social media?
He has like an Instagram, but he's never on it. He's mostly on TikTok.
Okay. Now, but you watch when he's on...
His mom, for the most part, watches a lot of that stuff. If we're in a car together and I hear certain things, like, I'm like, Jaden, you hear them cursing, turn it off.
But you know how kids can be sneaky. Because if you think back to how you was as a child, like...
See, but it wasn't sneaky. We knew better. Like, we were very respectful. We cursed. We did all... Yeah, listen, don't front.
I was sneaky.
Listen, we knew what and what not to do around our parents and
that's the key word, around our parents. Yeah. So now with social media, because you can literally access it from your phone, it's like when your child is at school, when you think they're just learning or whatever the case, like they're around their friends, and you don't know what their friends are exposed to at home. So their friends showing them like, hey, look, this is what I saw on Instagram, and it's like,
and that's the biggest thing, that peer pressure and that peer-to-peer relationships is what truly makes the kids fucked up. Like, I would never want to sell drugs, right? But if you remember ATL, he didn't want to sell no drugs, but he seen boy in the pool drop all that money.
That was one of my favorite movies.
He dropped all that money in that pool. Now all of a sudden, damn, I want to sell some drugs.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, those things haven't changed to what they are. Peer pressure has always been there.
Yeah, I think
But
it just
about-
escalates depending on.
But
like
it's
it
more
evolves.
peers because now I have this broad array of social media and let you get embarrassed on social media. Everybody's trying to avoid being
Cyberbullying.
Oh my
cyberbullying,
God.
catching the L.
Yes.
Don't be the main character on
So-
Twitter today. Like,
I have a friend who's a teacher at a high school, and he said that the way students bully people now, like the kids now, is on a whole nother level. Like, let's say there's a fight or something, or someone's getting teased and people are recording it. So they will literally airdrop it to the whole class if they miss the fight, so everybody could see it. And I'm like, damn.
you got Jordan Poole. Like,
I get cyberbullied every day on Twitter. I got
Do you?
cyberbullied.
What do they say?
But
I think you
can't
talking
do it.
shit. That's why.
I'm that guy. I go looking for it. But I got cyberbullied last week for not knowing that seals were mammals.
You ain't know that?
I forgot. All right. And then
What did you think it was?
No, listen. Let me tell you.
We need to know this.
All right, so I'll be brief. Somebody posted a video of a seal playing with a snorkeler. So I remember a conversation I had when I was like 13, when some guy was like, "Yo, seals are basically the dogs of water." So all I did was tweet that. I'm like, "Hey man, I remember somebody telling me seals are the dogs of the oceans. This proves it." Marine biology Twitter just went up in arms. Like,
God.
What
They
they got to
can't
do
Not
with
marine
being a
biology
mammal?
Twitter.
they can't, because I said they're the dogs of the ocean. They
Dogs
they
are
can't breathe
mammals.
underwater. They're just holding their breath. I'm like, bruh, okay, sorry.
Wait, but dogs are mammals.
That was the issue.
I'm confused.
Listen, they went off of me for calling them the dogs of the water, as if I was saying that seals.
But what's the
fish.
problem with that? Because they say that crabs are the roaches of the
And shrimp,
ocean.
yeah.
Yeah.
People find what they're upset about, and then they attack
And
it.
they just, people be bored.
Literally,
That's
and when I
really
say
what it
bullied,
is.
I had about like 4,000 comments under that post. I'm like, okay.
Yikes.
But you said dogs. And you know white people and dogs.
They
You
don't
can't
play
call-
about their pet.
You can't call no seal a dog.
I love dogs too, but that comment wasn't that bad, and I got killed for about like a week over it. It was.
Yeah, I'm usually man versus woman Twitter. That's usually what gets me.
that too.
Yeah.
That too.
Well, I'm not on Twitter like that, so I feel bad for you
Listen,
guys.
Twitter is the best comic relief ever. You gotta get on.
And the best porn if you.
Oh my lord!
I heard that.
It
Like
is.
they don't have any type of restrictions. Okay, we're gonna segue into the next question.
Just don't put it in your header. They'll delete you.
So the next card, and this is the last card for the icebreaker, is in most cases, do you think you need a college degree to be successful? I'm gonna go first.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go first. I would say yes and no, because there are ways to become very successful online as an entrepreneur or through real estate and other ventures without having a college degree. But I feel like the thing with that is the best way to do it is if you know someone close to you who's in your family or a family friend or somebody that is in that business and can kind of just show you the ropes.
So you know.
Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, when you are applying to like a corporate job or on Indeed, Glassdoor, the requirements do say college degree required. So I think it just depends on which kind of industry that you're trying to go into. But at the same time, it's like when you are an entrepreneur too, like you still have to research and learn things and teach yourself how to become like a real estate agent. Like you have to go to the 75-hour courses, take the exam. I'm only saying this because I'm in the process of doing all that now. But yeah, like I would say it's a yes and a no. What are your thoughts?
So I agree. I feel like it's easier now for a number of reasons. One, what we've been talking about, these phones, social media.
Social media.
It's things that you can do to be lucrative in that. Two is it's not what you know, it's who you know. I was humble brag. I'm a regional manager in the healthcare field. So when I was competing at my old company to get promoted, one of the guys that got promoted ahead of me barely finished high school. He did like a year of college, never went back.
So you dropped out of college?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the guy who was making the choice for the position was his best friend in high school.
So, like, of course, he got that
So he
job.
got it. So,
Okay.
you know, I took my talents elsewhere. I ended up getting in a higher position anyway. But at the same time, I've hired people that were best for the position, don't know them, but they didn't have the degree. But I knew that the type of person that I'm looking for, they fit the mold. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to factor on that because what we do, you can do without that.
So, do you have a college degree?
Yes, I do. I have a bachelor's in sociology.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
for your current position, do you feel like it was required for you?
For my position, yes, because I wanted to be higher in management, and I plan on continuing to grow.
Okay.
So if you expect to get to a certain level, yes, you would need a
You
degree.
need further education.
Exactly, but at the same time, you don't necessarily need it to be successful. You can find ways around it,
Right.
Especially in corporate America, because once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, it's really who you know because,
Exactly.
like, with my manager, him and my boss, they aren't best friends, but they've known each other for a long time. And every day, I'm kind of just like, how did he get this job? Like, he has no personal skills and like leadership skills. Like, he stays in his office all day, but because he is good friends with the boss, that's how he got the job.
Isn't
So,
it beautiful?
I guess
For real, if any of us could have that situation,
I would take advantage of it, of course.
Listen, I told this dude I work out with sometimes, I'm like, and let's call it what it is, because white people are good for that. They'll put their people in
They
the
put
positions
their
knowing they
Nepotism
don't
is
qualify.
the way.
So I'm like, why can't I'm in a position where I can do that for my people? If I know you're not gonna come in and screw my name up, and I know you're good at what you do, I don't need all the rest of that. I'm putting you on.
Right.
So the way I see it is, it's all a matter of what you deem successful is, right? Because you don't need a college degree to run a construction business and be it's a bunch of guys that do trades that don't have those educations and they
But
live
keyword
in
is
good.
trade.
Yeah, but the trade itself, they don't necessarily need to go to school. They just
Right.
have to be an apprentice, right? My grandfather, he was an electrician's apprentice at like 35 years old. But that was after he worked at the post office. He did a whole lot.
You still need the experience.
But the experience is the key. So I work with two people. One was at the company for 13 years. One was at the company for 10 years. We actually had a real interesting conversation on Friday. I think they were snitching on the low, but it's all good. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And
snitches.
because I'm an external and they were internal promotes, I make a lot more money than them, probably like 20, 30 more, right? And we start talking about it, and they're like, well, I've never worked anywhere else. I don't even have a resume. Like, I'm like, you do recognize that you've essentially worked 3 jobs to start where you're at, get promoted again. That's a resume. But they don't look at it like that. They just look at it like, this is one job on my resume. This is one position. Like, no, this is an equivalent. A lot of the jobs that you look for have equivalents on the recommendations or the requirements.
I mean, I feel like you need a resume to get a job.
But they don't know how to work it.
Yeah.
Like, a resume ain't nothing but fluff. My resume is full of fluff.
Mine is fluff too, but because all the information is out there on the internet for you to create a resume, like that, I feel like that's
we
like
giving
step
people
one.
benefits of the doubt because a lot of people don't know no better.
They don't.
If you're constantly on your phone though, like all the information is out there.
Yeah, but a lot of people on their phones for the wrong reason.
They're on
Exactly.
social media, but my thing is too, because like there's so much information at our fingertips, and if you don't take advantage of that, that's just a detriment to you.
I believe we all have a range of intelligence, right? Where you and me and Lashawn, we can recognize like, I want more. What do I have to do to go out there and get more? A lot of people, I just so happen to get lucky that I got promoted. I work hard. I got promoted. These
Yeah.
people that I work with, they don't have ambitions to move beyond where they're at.
Okay.
Me, I didn't even come here to be this position. I came here to be my boss's boss. Like, that's the mentality I have. Their mentality is, oh, I'm just happy to be
Yeah,
here.
they just want a job and they just want to have a regular income.
So if you have people like that, and it's nothing wrong with being like that. I believe in modesty, right? I don't need much. I need a home. I need the ability to vacation a couple times a year.
Facts.
Make sure my kids have great Christmases and birthdays, and I'm the happiest person in the world.
Okay, and I think it also depends on what happiness looks like to you.
Yeah.
Because happiness to me, it does depend on my success financially. because I do want to be able to take trips when I want to visit family in different states where I got to take flights to go visit them. And that obviously takes money. So for me, it's just like building that wealth in order to just have that freedom to do what I want to do. Like, that's what happiness is for me.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then let's segue into our first topic. And I saw a video. I saw a video on Instagram where, you know how people do like a whole bunch of skits, like the Instagram comedians and stuff like that. So this one guy, I think his Instagram was Hey Tony TV. Have you guys heard of him?
Nope.
He does a lot of like fake high school administrative skits. No, okay.
Does he usually have like a wig on?
Yes,
Yeah,
and the keys.
I've seen it.
Yeah, so he did this one skit previously, which I thought was so funny, but he was sitting in a classroom and he was at an interview where they were giving him a motivational speech about how you're going to be going door to door selling knives. I'm not going to say the name of the company because one of my good friends worked for this company. So
worked or worked?
She worked
Past
previously.
Sense?
Yes.
Like in the vector space, past sense?
I said I didn't want to say it.
Oh, what? I said it?
You said it.
Oh, damn. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, but past tense. She no longer works there. So I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever... Hold on.
Wait, before you go.
Okay.
Talk about, she actually worked for them?
She did.
Like for how long?
My grandma brought knives from her. She still has the knives.
Do they work?
No, they're great knives. Like, they literally will cut through
really
a watermelon in like one slice.
So maybe we should have did this shit, huh?
Nah.
No. But listen. Let me ask the question. So, have you guys ever worked a job where it was kind of like a pyramid scheme and they kind of gave you that motivational speech and you got hired on the first day?
Let me tackle this.
Let me tell my story first.
I got some funny stories.
I'm going to tell my story first, and then, Aaron, you could go next. So my situation was I was looking for an internship back in probably like 2013, 14. And I went to one of these motivational speeches interviews, got the job first day, and they told us that every morning we would have a team conversation to motivate all of us to go out and sell these knockoff perfumes. That's what we were selling. So we would go to Walmart, gas
Avon
stations. It wasn't even Avon. I don't remember the name of it. But it was just knockoff perfumes. And we had a bag. We had maybe like 20 a piece. So whenever we would sell one, they called it drops.
Hold up, were you one of those people who would walk up to random people and
yes, in the parking
lot? Somebody caught me with that. I was mad as hell because my ex at the time was like, "Why you smell like that?" I'm like, "I swear to God."
Yeah, we would just spray you like, "Doesn't it smell like
don't do that shit
or something?"
don't do that shit.
Yeah, but I literally only did it for maybe like a week and then stopped going because they kind of brainwashed us into saying like, "Oh, you're gonna get your own office and we're gonna pay you this amount of money to build your own team." And it was crazy because when I quit, I would say a month later, the people I used to work with, they were probably around like their 50s. Like they were older or like fresh out of college. So they were like easily manipulated. And so was I, clearly. But they were saying how, I have to sell maybe like 3 more bottles. And then in 2 weeks, like I'll have my own office. So when I quit, I ran into one of them in a Walmart parking lot. And I was like, hey, like, did you open your own office yet? And then they were like, oh, no, the company told me that it's still under construction and I have to wait this amount of time. Like, it was still some more bullshit. And I'm just like, damn, like, you still here. You still here falling for this.
What do you gain from that?
Right.
I definitely fell for it. Because I was on child support fresh out of college, so I needed whatever I could get.
Fresh out of college?
All
in college. But that's another story for another day. What ends up happening is I apply for jobs. You know, you're just trying to get whatever. I graduated in 2012, and I'm over here looking like, where am I going to get my next job? So it's a company called 2K Millennium. And I'm like, oh,
that sounds like some bullshit.
It sounded like I was about to be on some shit. So I do my interview, And my cousin Justin always told me, yo, if they hire you on the spot, it ain't the spot.
It's not the job.
So I'm all excited. It was in Hackensack. I had to catch 2 buses to get to Hackensack.
You had to take public transportation
2 buses. And when I got there, first off, dude was the best motivator I ever.
They always are. Mine was too.
I use the shit that he tell me to this day.
He started that shit.
Yo, he used to be like, yeah, if you got 8 hours of work, you work your whole 8 hours. You keep a smile on your face.
They make you feel like you need to be on your shit.
Yo, he used to be like, every store, every door, every floor. I'm like, you got me, dog.
Clearly, you still say that.
Your ass in there like, yeah, let's get it.
I'm gung-ho and shit. I don't even use that shit. I'm like,
that's why they go after athletes.
Yo, so
they not a motivator.
We were selling makeup similar to
the perfume.
Yeah,
that I was
makeup
selling?
And curling irons.
What?
Makeup and fucking curling irons.
Were you going door to door?
We were going people to people in New York City, Brooklyn, on the street. I don't even speak Spanish. Huh? Se gusta maquillaje? Is that correct, Marvin? I don't even know if I said that shit right. But I'm over there talking to every single woman I see. Se gusta maquillaje?
What does that mean?
Do you want makeup? I think
that's all you say.
That's all I say.
And then they start talking back to you as and you.
The crazy part, shit. See, the crazy part was it was Valentine's Day month, so it was like right in February. So I'm getting myself bang, bang, bang. I'm feeling like I'm.
So
doing
they was
something.
buying it,
and then that check came. Mm. I got like $45 on
nah.
I said, man, this shit is a dub.
That's a ripoff.
I'm like, nah, this shit. It taught me how to work hard though, because I ain't gonna take nothing away from that experience. That 3 days that I was there, it really taught me like, yo, if you want to get it, you gotta grind. But this ain't the grind I want to do.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt because they had us going out to like PA, like Walmart in Pennsylvania, which was like an hour drive, and I'm like, why are we going so far? Because they didn't want us like the group to be too close together with selling.
I got real life beef with y'all. Because I was leaving work
Don't say y'all, because I'm not there no more.
I used to work in retail, and I was walking out of work one day, got off early. Some random girl and her friend walked up and sprayed me. Like, this smell good, right? You should get this for your girlfriend. I'm like, bro, I'm going to go home and have to explain why I smell like this. What are you doing?
Right. No, that was literally what they wanted us to do.
That shit.
Yo, these motherfuckers came and kissed all on my shirt collar.
She didn't believe that shit. I was, bro, I got beef with y'all.
Yeah. No, that was their marketing tactic. Like, just smell it so that they can get a whiff and be like, oh, let me buy it. But most people don't like that shit. Like, that's invading their personal space. Mm-hmm. And also, it's not even the original. Like, it's a knockoff. So.
But can we talk about Vector real quick? That was my first ever interview.
You worked at Vector?
I didn't work there. Me and my sister Lashawn, we both.
That's a good name.
We both went to the Vector interview. We were excited. We had our dressed to the nines, we ready, and they telling us all of this shit like, yo, look at these knives can cut through steel. Like, yo, we excited.
That's why my grandma bought them.
We excited, and then they told us like the structure, and we like, hold on, we 16, 17, like, this does not sound right. This sounds like some bullshit. And lo and behold, it was some bullshit.
But they were good knives. Like, my grandma still has them. I don't give a fuck how good the knives are. But they were expensive. They was like $100 and something.
I might as well sell Popular Club, Avon. What else you do door to door? Jehovah's Witness, like whatever the fuck.
Jehovah's Witness don't sell though.
They sell God.
They selling Jesus.
That don't count. That doesn't count.
Listen, I've been
Jehovah's Witness.
Nah. Oh. But as far as the whole schemes and whatnot, I've never actually worked for one, but I've almost got caught up in 3 of them.
Nigga.
I did another one. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna say it after.
You worked?
Yeah, I worked another one. I was so fucking naive.
She did. What's hot now?
No, I was at DirecTV. So
DirecTV is a pyramid scheme.
It is the way they hired me. Okay. So I thought I was gonna be doing more of the IT piece to it, and not necessarily a salesperson. She was installing that. Yo, shut up. I was not. So,
it's cold out here.
The first day was a very motivational speech for the interview, and I got hired on the spot, of course. And I had my notebook. I wrote a bunch of notes, probably like 10 pages full of stuff. God damn. They was telling me about the packages and depending on the location, like what's like for upgrades, like what's included in that. And I'm like, okay, like this is legit. Like let's go. Like I'm ready. So then they're like, your first post is going to be in Costco. And I was like, why am I going to Costco to give out information about DirecTV? So I was at a table with my partner, and we literally would just give out information about DirecTV. But people were just asking us, like, do you know where the croissants are? Like, they wasn't actually asking us about DirecTV. They thought we worked at Costco. And I'm like, yo, I don't fucking work here.
You in Costco. You want to show me where these croissants are.
She one of the motherfuckers in Walmart with the tech. Nobody ever talked to them about it.
Yes, I was that person. So I did that for about 2 days, and I'm like, no, this is some bullshit.
Hey, let me interest you in T-Mobile. Nigga, where the Pampers?
Listen,
that was literally it.
I almost got duped into selling vacuums when I was like 19 because I just needed money. But once I done went through the whole class listening to everything, and just from the shit my mother used to tell me when I was growing up, I was just sitting there. I ain't gonna put his name out there. We ain't cool no more. But at the same time, he was like all in and trying to get all of us to do this shit. So we in this class, and this guy's like, "Yeah, man, these are state of the art vacuums. We need you guys to go from door to door with this shit." And I'm just looking at this dude. I'm like, bro, where do we come out good on this? Like, they're making all the money and we're just screwed. And he chose not to say
every
that
company.
Way.
Every company.
So,
yeah.
And then the second part was, you ever heard of Prime America?
No.
The insurance company?
Yeah. So Prime America actually has really good insurance coverages. I got my life insurance through them.
You got your wife insurance? That's dope. I
Life.
appreciate it. Oh,
Life.
Damn,
Life
she ain't got insurance. No.
But
You can add her to it.
yeah, I ain't married yet.
Oh.
We'll discuss those things once we get there. But they're the workers though. The way they have people signing up for it, complete pyramid scheme. And I literally was when I got the retail job that I got sprayed at by one of her folks.
Stop saying my folks. I haven't worked there in like 10 years.
So I got fired from that job on some nonsense. So for like, I want to say like 3 months, I was out here Ubering, just trying to get all the money I can. But then, that's too much stress on your car. So one of my boys was working for Prime America. So he told me he was making good money. That was the thing. He was telling me this because they have to sign people up.
They make money off of you just signing
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I go there, like you, nice business suit. I'm dressed to the T. I'm like, all right, I'm looking good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, I'm in this meeting. I'm like, yo, this is some bullshit. I pulled him out. I'm like, yo, man, I'm not doing this, dog.
Yeah.
He's like, what? I'm like, why you ain't tell me this is a scheme? And he starts laughing. I'm like, you know what this shit is.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yo, man, but I'm like, yo.
Well, they get money. Like, they get money the more people that they get to sign up.
It looks like it, but I don't think
I said to him, I'm like, yo, if I sign up and not show up, do you still get money? He was like, yeah. So I did it, but I never went.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is nonsense. And then the last one was the Nutriburst. Somebody I used to date was doing
that.
That
Was
shit.
a scheme when I was in college. Like, because we all like lived on a floor where they came randomly one day and like gave a presentation of how great. I didn't do it, but like my roommate,
they still out here doing it,
and someone else did.
We had a good conversation,
and they swear by it. I'm like, they had a little events when the leader of the area comes. She pull up in her little Rolls Royce and some shit. Mm-hmm. Everybody outside like, oh, she making it. Nigga, she duping y'all. That's
right. It's all bullshit. It's all like a mind game
That's
too,
all it
to
is.
see that like, oh, I'm making all this money, but like, no, you're just my pawns in this game. Okay, so I do just want to segue into a question for you, Lashawn, directly, because you are a podcaster as well. I just wanted to know, like, how do you stay inspired and motivated and keep coming up with your content as a podcaster? Because, like, we are still relatively new. And I think for us, like, it's just trying to figure out, like, what works for our brand as far as the conversations, what's trending, like, what makes sense for us to talk about. So with your podcast, it's called The Educated Brothers. Like, what helps you just, keep putting out content and finding topics?
I talk a lot.
Okay.
But nah, growing up, I want to say like the first 13 years of my life, I was more reserved. My family's from Newark. We're a hooded family. Mm-hmm. But my mother had me in schools that was really suburban, so I spent most of the time around my family feeling like an outcast. So I didn't speak up a lot when we were at family events, to the point where I would get around people and just be timid. Mm-hmm. When I started playing football in high school, I think that's where I started becoming who I am. And I always told myself, whatever I feel like sharing, I'm going to share it. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't want to hear it, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
And it got to a point as an adult to where, you know, there was a moment where I'm like, all right, maybe I'm oversharing. And I explained this to Aaron a few weeks ago, you know, I got diagnosed with depression in 2017. They tried to put me on all the medication, blah, blah, blah. So to not go that route, I knew that I had to just be completely confident with the person I am and just explore all avenues that I always wanted to explore. So it started off with me making Instagram skits, like I was doing the comedy videos and things of that nature, just to get that out. I still do that on like. Were
you doing that to help with your depression?
Yeah, because it was the way to express what I'm feeling or just things that I just think is funny. And even if people didn't agree with it, it was just for me. And if people rock with it, they rock with it.
That's kind of how I feel too. Like not to cut you off, but like when it comes to just the podcasting and I used to put out YouTube videos too. Like I wasn't doing it for the notoriety or like subscribers or fans. Like I just genuinely enjoyed putting out digital content.
And that's what it was. A lot of people were like, you know, people expect your stuff to blow immediately. And if it don't, then they're questioning why you're doing it. So when I would explain to people, I'm like, yo, I'm not doing it to go viral. I just think this shit is funny.
Like it's your happy place.
Exactly.
And I think that's where we all relate because me and Dana, me and you, we all just naturally, I don't even know if we extroverts per se.
I'm not an extrovert.
But from a content perspective, we do what we want and we say what we want. Y'all know I don't give a fuck.
I know you.
Like, but you know what it is? Like we don't like to go against the grain. Like we have our own opinions. Like we want to just think outside the box and express ourselves in that way. So I think like just as individuals, because for me, like I'm not, like people are always surprised when I say I'm not an extrovert. Like to me, I have to mentally get myself in a space where I know I'm going to be around people and talk and all of that. Like I have to mentally like tell myself like, all right, like you have to be bubbly today. You have to interact with people. You have to communicate and like just like work the crowd or whatever I'm doing, because that's not usually how I am on a day-to-day.
See, I'm a little bit of the opposite. Like I'm naturally extroverted, but I don't have a problem taking a step back. I don't mind being the forefront. I don't mind blending in. I'm a chameleon, essentially.
Okay.
Like whatever the room calls for, that's what I'm with. And I'm going to get mine regardless. That's how I feel.
Honestly, and I think that's why me and you rock with each other, because I think those are the best type of people to be around, because you can put a person like that in a room and it's still good energy, good vibes. And there's not a point to where you're feeling like, yo, what's this motherfucker doing?
Like why did I invite them?
Yeah, like, I don't trust
but
I think
fucking weird.
I think me and Lashawn relate because we both come from those same kind of environments. Like we were, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for you, but I was like the smart one in my family, right? I was the one where, oh, you need to ask something, ask Aaron. And like the computer, the geek, the nerd. But I also wasn't a nerd when it came to like being in those spaces in school and stuff like that. Like my family knew I was the fucking smartest person in the room, but my grades didn't show it because I didn't give a fuck. Like, and it's not denigrating myself in this conversation, but it's like you had to be an individual at all times. And you got to really pay attention to where you're around, because these people will take advantage over you. Oh, you want to be the class clown? I'm going to show you the class clown dance, nigga. And I'm not that type of person.
And they label you with
that.
And
that's what it was crazy, because that's what it was. Like, to my family, I wasn't necessarily the smartest one, but, you know, I didn't carry myself like that. So they thought that I was suburban or, like, soft. That's how they labeled it. If you were suburban, you were soft. But around the people I hung out with in the suburbs, I was the hoodest nigga in the world. And it was crazy because I had to live this life like, all right, how do I find a balance? Because I didn't want to create a life to where I was being fake.
Right.
So I found who I am, and I'm literally the same person around everybody. And I think that's why people tend to rock with me the way they do, because it's not fake. I'm not switching. I'm not cold switching. I'm not doing that.
It's like organic and natural. It's who you are as a person.
Exactly.
So does that translate to your podcast?
Yes.
And the topics that you guys choose to talk about?
Absolutely, because we talk about everything, honestly. I know we talk about sports a lot. We talk about politics, life in general. We try to touch on everything, because my thing is, like Aaron said, I'm constantly on social media going at people. I like to debate.
Okay.
And I feel like if you know how to have, sometimes I do get out of character and start wilding, and because when people say certain things, and
it triggers you.
It triggers
like,
me.
Oh, really?
So, but in my need to constantly, because I feel like everything needs to be known, and everybody needs to get out of this mindset to where what I think is true. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those people too. If you can prove me wrong about something that I believe, I'll never argue with. I'll be oh, you know what, you got me.
Yeah,
and but a lot of people don't know how to do that.
It's also important to be open-minded because, like, everyone has their own opinion and their views and perspectives on things. Mm-hmm. So you can, like, to me, I don't necessarily like debating with people just because I already know that they have in their mind that what I'm saying is already, like, wrong. So I'm kind of just like, I will tell you my point of view, but I'm not going to, like, force you into believing like what I think is true.
But what if it's somebody you care about? You're going to just allow them to just be stupid?
No. So if it's someone that I care about, like I am going to just tell them why this way is the right way. Mm-hmm. But if we agree to disagree, then like that's just what it is to me.
I try to debate with the perspective like, let me understand you. Mm-hmm. Let me see where you're coming from because it's a reason that you feel this way.
And that's how you're supposed to.
Before I jump into this argument with you. Because a lot of times, black and white, man and woman, this and that. It's just I'm sticking to my perspective. Fuck yours. And it's like no, you have a valid reasoning for where you're coming from. It's literally racist in this world that I can empathize with because I understand them.
Yeah, it's the experiences that they've had with certain people. Like for example, I had a conversation with somebody recently, and they told me, speaking on like the black and white thing. Him and his wife, they went to a concert recently in New Orleans, and there was this black guy walking, I think he was walking in front of them, and then the black guy was like, oh, walk in front of me because I don't like when white people walking back at me, like I don't trust y'all. And then his wife like felt the way. She was like, oh, that made me feel uncomfortable, blah, blah, blah. But he had to explain to her like, well, we don't know the experiences that he's had with white people. So, like, if we would have...
Was this an interracial couple?
No, he's white and his wife is white.
Okay.
But the guy was black. But he had to just explain to his wife that whatever experiences that he's had with white people, like, that's not on us. Like, that's just, like, his experience. So, they ended up seeing him later at a restaurant, and then he paid for his meal or whatever, and the guy, like, he gave him a head nod to just basically, like... be like, all right, I noticed you did this nice thing for me, so thank you. But it's not necessarily to change his view on white people, but just to show him that, like, not everybody is the same.
And I think a lot of people don't always take in that lesson. Like, I had a situation at work where my peer talked down to this older black woman. And he was like, girl, you heard what I told you to do, blah, blah, blah. Even in his mind, if he was playing, you're a 23-year-old white man, and this is a 60-year-old black woman. You see how Dana reacted.
They don't play,
right?
Okay?
So what I try to do is I try to bridge the gap because I understand where you're coming from a comedic perspective. Like, you're trying to be light at work.
He's trying to relate and try to be down.
But you can't do that by not understanding the dynamics of racial culture. Like, that's very disrespectful for you in general.
What did he say, though? Like, what did he say to her?
He actually what did he say to her?
Yeah.
He just said, girl, da-da-da-da-da, to move, because she wanted to go to a different position. He wanted her to be in a different place.
Okay.
But if you would just talk to her like, excuse me, Taya, can you just go over there?
Right, just a respect.
Right. So when I talked to him about it, he felt like I was taking her side. I said, no, bro, like, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing, I'm trying to make you understand where she's coming from. I already spoke to her to let her understand where you were coming from. Water under the bridge. Yeah, but blah, blah, blah. And then he stepped at me at work. Like, we on the sales floor. I'm like, all right. We got to the back room. I said, bro, if you ever fucking step to me like that, I will smack the shit out you.
You had the 40 version moment. You want a nigga? You got a nigga?
No, I swear to God, like I had to, because I'm not that person. But I'm not telling you to do anything differently. But
you're also the manager too.
Yeah, but you got to understand, like, you can't talk to people any kind of way.
But that's the thing, and I think that plays into the issue too. There's some white people in the world who think that I know that I'm not racist, so let me just pretend that it's not here.
Yeah.
And then they operate like that. And I listen, when Trump became president, I lost a lot of white friends. I still have a lot as well. But I keep the ones that I keep around me because they understand that it's real. Don't act like it don't exist. Do things to change it. when I used to work at an assisted living home, and you know, a lot of racism is taught. It's not that they truly want to believe like that, but they were raised
it's their
to think
upbringing
like that.
with their parents,
So,
family members.
Exactly. So working in this assisted living home, I used to be called a nigga all the time, but everyone at the job respected me because I knew that when I was being called that, they didn't mean anything by it because they just thought that's how they spoke to us. And I'm working with 90, 100-year-olds.
These like old white people.
Yeah, at the time, these guys are born in the 1910s, 1920s.
Like during slavery.
Exactly. Like, and their grandparents were literally slave owners. So and then I would have conversations with these dudes to a point where, you know, it's assisted living, it's not nursing, so they operate on their own. Hey, Lashawn, come sit down with me, have lunch. I remember there was this one guy named Roger. Roger was a racist
Piece of shit is what he was about to say.
I was about to say it, but
We can curse on here.
listen, because I didn't call him a piece of shit because once I got to learn him, he wasn't. He was. My thing was everybody in the job knew how he was, so they hated him. I'm the type of person I need to understand why you feel like that about me, especially if I'm doing you a service and I'm rocking with you. So I sat down with Roger and spoke to him every day for about like a year. A year passed. Now he's coming down bubbly. Hi. Because I used to explain to him like, hey, certain things that, you know, we don't like.
Is he still calling you nigga?
I think he's passed because at the time that I was working, I was 24. He was already like 95.
Okay. Oh yeah, he was up there.
Yeah. So, but he has stopped.
Okay.
Because he only said it like 3 times, but he stopped doing it because I had explained to him like why it's not cool.
Today's society is not okay.
The crazy part is he truly didn't understand like why it wasn't okay to say it because his family used it so much. And when I explained to him everything about it, and that's another thing, a lot of white people now are ignorant to the fact that a lot of the things they're taught and they feel like are their customs were literally hurting other people. Like, for example, one of the managers that work underneath me is the sweetest lady in the world. Monday is what it is, the holiday.
Columbus Day.
I call it Indigenous People Day.
Yeah.
But my thing is...
But that's new, though. Like, that just came out, like, in the past few years.
Even when I was younger, I never called it Columbus Day because I knew what the type of motherfucker Columbus was. So, but, you know, I'm the leader. I'm not a manager. I run offices, so I can't be like that in work sometimes. So we're talking about Mondays because I've only been with the company I'm with for 4 months. She's been with them for 5 years. I asked her, I'm like, hey, Monday, do you guys usually have that day off? She's like, what day? I'm like, what do you call it? Because I wasn't going to call it what I called it if she felt the way she was.
Right.
She was like, you know what? I call it Columbus Day. I'm conservative. And then she started getting into it, and I told her, I'm like, let's not have that conversation. She's like, why? Because I'm like, do I think you're racist? No, and I respect you. But I'm smart enough to know that...
Sometimes they're just like ignorant.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because especially in that area, because this is Toms River. If you're used to Toms River, New Jersey, they stay in their bubble.
But you being conservative shouldn't impact the way that you feel about certain things
but
that other people feel about.
Most conservatives are taught
racist
to think a certain way. It is racist. But the ones who are not diving deep into it don't know because they're not thinking outside their bubble.
And it depends if they actually want to understand why it's racist. If they're just set in their ways like, nope, this is how it's been, this is how it's taught, like, I don't care. It's like, no, if people are telling you this is an issue and this is racist,
it's not that they don't care. It's just that it's hard for any grown-ass adult to be told, like, hey, everything you were taught when you were younger was a lie.
So what I look at it as is most conservatives aren't racist, but all racists are conservative. So that's the problem. You need to fix your people from within. It's just like cops. I don't think all cops are bad, but if you got a couple bad cops, y'all need to fix that shit from within before we fix it from outside.
Yeah, and I feel like that is a bigger conversation, which we can definitely dive into.
With Bigger Sean.
Yeah, so we definitely want to have you back on here because
I'll be back. I like it. We outside.
We outside.
After work,
Oh, I'm on vacation too, so I'm definitely about to.
Oh, you really about to be just in the streets. All right, but just kidding. All right, guys, we are going to wrap up the episode here, though. We do want to thank Lashawn for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
On our episode 5. And episode 10 is coming.
Episode 10.
It's coming. It's on the way. We do have a couple surprises.
Yes.
We want to start a Patreon on episode 10. So, yeah, look forward to that.
Y'all doing big things over here. All right.
We're trying. We're trying to make this work. But I will put all of our tags and handles in the description box. And we do have that Gmail account, WOAW.
And we want y'all to start using it, y'all. We want y'all to start using it. We want to bring y'all to the podcast. We want to hear what y'all got to say. We want to talk directly to the people.
To our coworkers.
To our coworkers.
Oh, that's what y'all call. That's dope. I like that.
Yeah, Aaron came up with that.
I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, it's on brand. But all right, we are going to wrap up episode 5. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we outside and we out.
We outside. Yeah.